So, hi there and welcome back. So, today we are going to start a new series. Actually, this series is going to be streamed every Saturday. Okay, and here I have basically planned that I am going to show you the reality behind web development. So first of all, the journey in this web development course will start from the front end and then all the way it will go to back end. So in this, we are going to start our journey. Okay. We need to now check how we will going to start with this course and what all things you need to start. Okay. So everything in great detail we are going to discuss in this thing. Now, the first and the foremost, the most important thing what is for us is that you need some kind of laptop with you. Okay, a good connection and a laptop. Now, first, if we can start with what is the reality of this IT industry. Now, what happens whenever you are uh, doing something in terms of software engineering or anything related to softwares, mostly in colleges and in all the institutes what we have here and there, they will try to grab you in only selected languages like C, C++, Java, and few more things like PHP and all those stuff. Few of the colleges, few of the schools have started teaching you Python, but then also C sharp, not C sharp, sorry, C, C++. Okay, these languages are somewhat deprecated and now are not being widely used in the software line. Yeah, C++ is used in gaming development, in games development, but then also you don't find so many of companies using it. These days, the technologies like Google and all those things are pretty much into existence. But no problem. In this entire boot camp, I am trying to teach you the entire development cycle. Okay, and if you follow me along this, this is going to be of I guess 10 to 12 Saturdays. Okay, so one day we will do it. Each Saturday we will be learning something new. So we'll start with this. So as a side note, I will also try to tell you all the reality behind these topics and also we'll see how we evolve in this journey. If any problem you have while learning, okay, any problem is there while you are learning with me, you can always you can always share the note with me, okay? So there is no problem. You can always feel free to mention anything on in the comment section below, okay? And I will try to resolve each and everything whichever is possible. Now, if we can go to our Google, okay? If we can go to our Google, so I guess, yeah, let's start with the Google one, okay? I shall now open up a Ignore tab for you guys. Okay, here is our Ignore tab. And now what we are going to do generally is we are going to set up a machine for web development. Now, when we talk about web development, actually what it is whatever like Amazon you use, the Flipkart world you use, the e-commerce, movies, Netflix, anything which you use is made up of web technologies. Okay, there are so many technologies into this tech stack of web tech stack, but The main thing is behind the scenes, the main thing is which one you should choose for your career. Okay, the main thing exactly that thing, that which one you should choose for your career. So to me, it's been 9 to 10 years into this industry, and I like sharing the stuff with you. Okay, we also teach different technologies. Okay, so if you want to learn anything, if you want to get certified into any of the technologies, you can always do a DM to me. We have our Telegram group channel. Okay, in my channel you will find a Telegram link there. You can join us, and then you can make an inquiry for the courses as well, specified courses where you can get certified. Okay, so let's start. First of all, you need VS Code. Now, VS Code is a Visual Studio. Okay, it's a Microsoft-based, what we can call it as, it's a text editor. Here, this platform helps you to write the code. Okay, it's free, and this tool has so many options which makes a developer life easy. But to this to this competition, we also have a Google's text editor, which is still in development and haven't released for public. Let me show you. It's IDX, Google IDX, Project IDX. This is the latest tooling by Google, and this contains AI built in, and also this contains simulators. So that means if anyone is developing for mobile development, okay, mobile apps, he or she could directly get that simulator over here in the text editor itself, and can work around. So Google is trying to build this thing, and if you want, you need to join the wait list over here. Okay, you can enter your name, state, currency, and you can accept the terms, and you can explore whenever this thing is available. So that's the one of the main important message what I have provided you, that this tooling is going to be available soon, but right now this is not available. So for now, we will continue with our download for Windows, and over here, then we can see, we can just concentrate on uh, the development phase. Now, in my experience, many of the candidates who want to be into this technology comes like, okay, we need to do that, we need to do that, but they don't have the clear idea how to proceed. So the main way for proceeding into this would be that you directly start with one language, go into it, and when you feel like confident, at that time you are ready to go. So for now, when you have this VS Code installed, okay, you need to download it for your Windows. And once you download it, there are the simple steps, okay, to download this thing. Once you get this download, you can open up your VS Code. It will be a direct shortcut to your desktop. You can open that, okay, and once that thing is available, okay, once that thing is available, you can select which mode you want. I will go with the light mode, okay. I will go with the light mode because then it will be easy for you to see everything. Now, I recommend you to do few steps. Now, these few steps will really help you to get going for this code. And first of all, the very foundational language what we are going to learn for this web development bootcamp would be HTML. So if I could create a folder, I can then go to my desktops or anywhere where you want to save it. You can now go to a new folder and you can save it as web development bootcamp by. okay, web development bootcamp, or we can do WDB underscore create finders. Okay, that's our channel name. If you like learning the technologies, and if you want the most experienced and the correct information on web technologies, on mobile technologies, on the entire software engineer life cycle, you can, with your all of your heart, with all of your dedication, join this channel, subscribe to my channel, and you will find the correct information, because we believe in updated technologies, and we always try to help you learn the most out of it. We don't want that you are in your colleges, you are learning some technology, and when in your final years that company is coming to you, approaching you for the interviews, uh, there should be a confidence on your face. You should look like, okay, I'm confident about the latest technologies. I know this technology, and I can give and can crack that interview, and everything is good. Yeah. So now what I am going to do is I am going to create a new file, and my new file name would be main.html. Now, if I could zoom my file over here, you see, you get this main.html over here, main.html. Now, this .html thing, this .html is nothing but this .html denotes that this is a HTML file. Okay, this is a HTML file. Now, HTML is nothing but whatever you see onto your screen. So if I go to the browser, if okay, if I now quickly go to the browser, and we quickly go to apple.com, and over here you see that this is a website. So this is made up of web technologies. Okay, this is made up of web technologies. Now over here you can see how this website behaves, and what is the motive of learning all this technology is so that the company can expand their business in the online world as well. That's the majority of the most heaviest reason why web technologies are there, to ease users' life so that everything is operated via online mode. Okay. So over here, now this HTML has a basic concept like how this thing is created. Okay. Now, when you want to write something onto the HTML, you start with some HTML tags, basic HTML tags, and the tags looks like this. The basic rule for HTML writing is you open the tag and you close the tag. Okay, so it's like this with this sign, and VS Code will help you to close this tag like this. I hope things are getting clear to you. Now, when these tags, you can see over these tags. Okay, these are these tags. Now, any web development basically consists of three things. Okay, it consists of three things. It consists of the basic layout, which is provided by HTML. It consists of the theming and the styling. It consists of the theming and styling, and that styling is provided to you by CSS. Okay, and then after this, the entire functionality, that means putting up life into that skeleton, is done directly by JavaScript. So this is a language which is understandable by browser, and mainly all the famous browser do ship with JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is the industry's topmost language, which is uh, used by many major tech companies because most of their businesses lie over online world. And if you want to learn this technology, that will only be available through JavaScript. Now, JavaScript have many frameworks, okay, that have many frameworks. So if we could go to our Google and we see JavaScript frameworks. So you see what a list we get: Angular, Express, jQuery, Bootstrap, AngularJS, Gatsby, Servlet, and these are not all. If I can go to 17 best frameworks to use in 2023, over here you will see that. There are so many things what you can do. React.js, yes, the industry-leading React.js framework is there, powered by Google, sorry, powered by Facebook. Then we have the Vue.js, another JavaScript framework. Then we have the Angular, that's the framework by Google. And I really love working in Angular and React. Ember.js, then we have Node.js. Okay, we have several JS. Right now, you might not understand all these names, but trust me, in basic terms, what is a framework? When let's say there is one language and that language name is JavaScript. Okay, now what happens? Using JavaScript functionalities, you try to develop many functionalities. Okay, so let's say my one function helps to switch on the Wi-Fi. My one function will help to validate the user when he tries to log in. So many functions are there. Now, what happens when so many functions are coupled together into one file that is known as one library? But when so many such files are kept together, that means so many libraries are brought up together, concatenated together, that forms up an entire framework. So framework is nothing but such functionalities which helps you to fulfill different aspects of application. So you see, there are so many criteria, so many things to learn in JavaScript, and I personally love JavaScript work. Okay, anytime I'm up for JavaScript work, anytime. Still I'm learning after achieving so much in tech life, but then also still I'm learning because I love learning. And whenever you think in your mind like, okay, it's done for me now, I have learned enough into this technological world, that's your biggest mistake in your life. Because you should never think like, okay, that was enough for me. No, if you want to stay up to date into this world, you need to be updated each and every day with what currently is going on in the tech world. Okay, so that's my number one tip of the day for today. Okay, so what I told you, it's the HTML, it's the CSS, and it's the JavaScript. Okay, so these are the three things what you should try to understand in your world. Good. Now, basically, what happens is, suppose this is HTML. Now, HTML contains two things. Let's say it's the head and that is the body. Again, the same syntax. You open up some tags and then you close. But one thing to keep in mind, these tags are fixed. Okay, so the structure will remain same, at least for these three tags. So you have an HTML tag. In this HTML tag, you will have two tags, the head and the body, same as in a human body. You have the entire skeleton. Upper half, you have the head, and the lower half, you have the body. So when you are working in this body part, the body part is generally for doing some presentational stuff. Now, if you remember, previously I told you that Visual Studio Code have some pretty good features. One of them you will find when you go to this extensions tab. Into this extensions, you can now search for live server, and what this will do, and you can click on install. What this will do, whenever you're trying to build any HTML page, okay, the front end world, at that time, this page will automatically reload all of your changes, and you don't need to again and again reload your web browser in order to update the latest UI. So yeah, that's the live server. And now in the body, I'm just going to type hello from create finders. Okay, that's my message. Now, in order to fire this, you can see you have this button go live. If you click on this, just allow access to all of these buttons. And if I can zoom this file, you see we get hello from create finders. So that was the first page by you on this web development thing. So congratulations for this. Now, as this is going to be a boot camp, this is not a full-fledged course thing. Whenever you need a full-fledged course, do DM me. I will try to help you either by some professional courses offered by me or directly via some personal counseling sessions. Now, this if you use h1 tag, that will turn this into a heading after all. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my site into half and half so that you have a clear view what we are doing. Okay. Now, the basic stuff is, let's say, and similar to this, you can go on and you can just use different tags. Actually, all the headings are available. Okay, all the tags are available from 1 to 6, so you can pretty much do whatever you require. Okay, let's save this thing, and you can see the basic stuff. Okay. Okay, so now in the head section, you also get some one tag which is known as style, and this should be used. It's a rule, it's a development rule that the style tag should always be used inside this head. Now I have my style section over there. So what I can do is I can now target my body, and I can say, let's say I want the background color to be Dodger blue. So you see, my entire web page is not blue. This one. Now, if you want whatever text is there on this web page, that should be of some sort of another color. So you can type color, and I can tell you this as white. So what really my plan is to teach you in this entire bootcamp is we start with a basic of HTML and CSS and all those things. And once we achieve those things, we will dive into the JavaScript world. And then that JavaScript world will help you to understand the nature of JavaScript. And once we know the entire nature of JavaScript, like what all are the important things which you want to learn in your life, in this technology, in this software world, then we will be moving towards some great and best framework. We are going to speak about framework as well. We are going to learn the framework because whenever you seek for some certain jobs, usually you will get an entire information, entire job description regarding those frameworks. Like, okay, you should know React, you should know Angular, you should know this, you should know that. So yeah, pretty much the pure stuff won't be there. But yeah, mostly when you speak about, let's say, React, when you speak about Angular, that means you should know TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, some responsive UI framework. So front-end job, basically, if I told you there are a set of tooling which you should know, and at that time only you can understand these things. Now, so this is the thing. Now, what my idea is, okay, what my idea is, now my idea is to make a form, because see, in your entire life, in your software life, you are always going to play with input fields. Those are really important, and I guarantee you that most of the developers guarantee to know much about Java, much about HTML, but they fail to do it. I have seen in my personal interviews, they are not really uh, focusing on what are the main essential thing, what you want to do in this. Okay, so let's say to make a form, we use the form tag like this. Okay, let me just scroll a bit. And div tag, if I want to comprise of div tag is nothing but a infinite container which expands and which it's a block level element. I will come back to block level element when we will touch this topic in CSS. But right now, you understand that it's a block level element. That means it will stretch to the full width of the display, but the height of the div will depend on whatever content you put into that div. So for example, in this div, I have a label. Okay, I have a label, and this label name is, let's say, username. Let's say you see a username is here with the input like this. You see, one input is also available. And I want to link this input with this. So for example, first of all, you need to give a name to your input. So my name for this would be, it's a username underscore input. Okay. Now input needs a placeholder. So placeholder is nothing but a help text which will appear whenever you are not focused into that input. But once you get focused into that input, it will disappear. So enter your username. For example, this stuff. So you see, you get this, you get something here, enter your username. Great. Now, another thing would be, okay, we have all of this information right over here now. Okay, so name is here. Okay, and with the name, the placeholder is also here. Now, another thing would be, I need to give it an ID. So ID would be, let's say, username underscore input underscore control. So this is my ID, a special ID for this. Okay. So this is my ID. Now, oh, on this input, okay, on this input, you can also say it like, I need that the user should fill this input. That means it's a required field. Okay. And required field. And what happens in HTML world is, mostly you don't know that your user, the user who is going to use this form is capable enough to view this thing. Okay, is capable enough, is able to view or is listen to this thing. In this type of example, these topic is known as accessibility. Okay, so what are accessibilities in HTML? This is the basic and the most asked question in HTML. So another thing is like, okay, we have screen readers. What are screen readers? Screen readers are nothing but you have your entire display. Okay, you have your entire browser. Now browser should understand like what you have written, what you are demanding from the user. So at that time, you should always mention like area label or area required. To this required, I can say it true. Okay, now my browser knows, okay, this field is required. Okay, this is a property and this is a value. This is again a property, this is a value. ID is again a property, it's a value, and placeholder is again a property and this is a value. So HTML is nothing but it's a usage of tags where some properties would be there and some values would be there. Now don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comment section below. But yeah, uh, slowly you will get to know all these things. Okay, so I have now another thing would be for me that I give it a button. Okay, button. Now button says login. Okay, now you see I have a pretty much good button. Now see, whenever these required fields are not there, at that time you see something happen on this input field and you can say username is equal to this. And if you notice the name what you have entered over here, okay, this value username input. Whenever I try to, and let me just increase the browser width. Let me just clear the browser. Now see, now notice the structure. Okay, notice the structure. Now in the form, in this form, you have this fields. Okay, you have this div and you have a button. And whenever you are creating a form, it's important that you should have a button. Otherwise, how user is going to finalize that form? Okay, how user is going to fill that form? That's a question, right? So in that moment, you need a form. Now, see when I try to do a login, you see over here it's a question mark. Now, things we are going to discuss, each and everything I'm going to tell you in the entire bootcamp. Okay, don't worry. But the major thing is, you see input is equal to this. Now let's try to fill in some value. Let's say username is Siddhartha. Let's try to click login and you see you get the value username is equal to this. Now I have another solution to it. Now let's put the required field again. Now what will happen if I press on login button? This says please fill out this field. So it's the basic HTML validation. Okay, it's known as validation that until and unless you click, you fill this field, you are not going to get anything. You get zero. Okay, you get zero. So you need to first enter the value and on then you can submit this form. So I write suppose Sid and I click on login. You now see that you get the value. Now another thing what I need to show is, okay, let's create one more div, and this div is going to get a label as password. Now let's provide some password as well. I am now going to copy this thing and this input, for now this input is of type text. That means over here you can type text, but now this input field will have password like this. Okay, forget about the styling right now. I will again in the upcoming sessions I will also show you how to style things, because style, we are starting with the front end and my favorite job is to style everything. So yeah, we are going to do that also, but over here let's just do it as password. Okay, this is the password. If I'm not wrong, this should be password, right? Yeah, now this thing is also correct. Now you see, if I try to fill username, then it says password is missing. So this required and area required are really very beneficial whenever you mention them in your form. So I type 123. Okay, and over here with the password you also get this view and non-view button. Now when you click on login, you see username input is equal to this and password input is equal to this. So if you got to learn something new in HTML, so definitely like this video, share this with your friends, because I'm going to just tell you many realities regarding this thing, okay, regarding this field, and also few of the important things which you should know into this field. Okay, some of the insight and use as well. So see, this is how you play with this, and whenever you're writing some label, there is the HTML4 tag, okay, and here you need to map your ID with this thing. So this label is for this, and here also you can do HTML4, and here you can link it with your ID for input field. So like this, the HTML form knows, okay, the label will be linked with this input field, and this label will be linked with this input field. Okay, good, perfect. Now another thing would be, okay, another thing for this would be, whenever you work inside an HTML, inside a HTML form, okay, the by default type of the button is submit. Okay, the by default type of the button is submit. So when you try to do it, you see this form is behaving. Okay, so the by default type of this form for this button inside this form is submit. Okay, so submit helps you to submit the form. Yeah, and that's why in the URL also, in this URL section, you are seeing that value, right? So if I could just copy this value and I try to save this value over here for your reference, you see, this is the value which you are getting right now. Let me just comment this thing. Yeah. So it says that username is this and the password is this. So, okay, an exact idea is available. Now, for now, this was enough of talking regarding the HTML world. Now let's try to I will try to show you something for these, okay, for these fields. So in the body section, okay, we have this body. Now I will be targeting the div, and you can see the syntax for using the CSS. Okay, you can only use the CSS in the style tags, or CSS has its own a separate file which you can use. Okay, but no problem. In this div section, okay, in this div section. Now, here are the curly bracket. That means it's the limit. You start from here, you end up here. And in this div, I'm now going to give some stylings. So, for example, my div should have a border, and it should be 1px solid white. And as soon as I save this thing, you see the div, as I told you, it's a block level element. It will take the entire width of the screen, but the height depends on what the content you are fitting into this div. Okay. Yeah. Now this div will have some border radius, and that's 12 pixels. Pixels is like pixel units. Okay. So you see, like, okay, we have this thing. Now let's say that our the padding, that means the spacing inside of this div, the spacing is 10 pixels. So you see, with padding, you give internal spacing, and opposite to this, the spacing outside the border will be called as a margin. See now, okay. Now what about this button? Now this styling was basically for div. Okay. Now let's target our button. Now how do you style a button? So let's say I am picking up this button, and now in this button I wanna do some font sizing. So I can say that the font size for this button is 14 pixels. You see there was a little increase to it. I can say 34. You see how this button is behaving. Okay, let's keep it 24, or for now let's keep it 14. That's absolutely cool. And with this, let's keep the width of this button to 250 to 50 pixels, or let's say 150 would be fine for now. Okay, now when you do border to none, that means the border will be removed. And if you want to see on the screen, let me just show you over here. You see now there is no border in this button. Now you can also add some border radius to this button. Let's say a 4 pixel would be fine. Okay, you get this button. Okay, the button is looking good. And with this, we can also now make the background for this button as transparent. That means whatever the background color is, just adopt that thing. Okay, and with this transparent, I can then use the border and set it to 1 pixels of solid white, like this. And with this, I can also set the color, and the color for this would be white. Okay. And if I want that the entire content of this HTML should be in center, I can use the center tag like this. And now everything is in center. Now, last thing, what is left is our inputs. To this input, I say that the border is none. Now the borders are removed. After the borders are removed, I say that my padding in the inputs should be 4 pixels. Okay, and my border radius should also be 4 pixels. Cool. Now what I want to do is I want to tell that my input right now, the input is what it is. It's a block level element. That means you can give it a height, the width. Okay, right now I want to make it's an inline. So let's say I want to change it to display block. Now, once I have changed the display for this input as block, now you can see that this input takes up the entire space. But when you try to do as inline block, at that time it will directly shift back to its origin position. So from inline block, I'm shifting it to block. Okay, so that means it takes all of the space. Now to the body, okay, to the body, I say that the font style for would be, sorry, not the font style, the font family would be monospace. So I took up the monospace thing. Okay. Now you see sometimes this thing occurs, like you can select anything on to the screens. So if you don't want to do that, you can do user select to none. Now when you do a user select, you see now no longer I can select this thing. Now to the input, I need some margin from all the sides, and let's set it to 4 pixels. Now the inputs are also fine. Okay. So like this, we are good with this design for now. Okay, we are pretty much good with the design for now. We have our username, we have our password. Okay, and if you wanna do it, you can always follow the same strategy for this as well. But for the input fields, I want the background to be transparent, so they are gone. I want the border for the input fields to be white, so they are there. And then what I want is that the placeholder, all the placeholders. Okay, for the placeholder thing, you write it like this, and for the placeholder, the color should be white. Now you see, I've shown you about the labels, but right now, okay, right now I don't require the labels for my design because pretty much I have the placeholders. Okay, I have the placeholders. So I don't think I require them. And the same thing is I don't need a div as well. So the design is almost fine. Now to the buttons, I can say that they are 200 pixels. And same design for the button also, I can give it a width of 200 pixels. Now everything seems fine. And for the button, I can say that you need some margin top, and that should be, let's say, 5 em. Oh, sorry, 5 rem. And to the body, now to the body, and these units actually I can show you afterwards. But for now, let's take 10 pixels. That my margin top would be 10 pixels. Perfect. Okay. Now I want to fill some information, and then I can press on login. Now I want that this button should behave when I hover on this. So I can do that like this button on hover, and on hover, background should be white, and with the white, the color should be Roger blue. So we are just shifting this look. You see, now this button is behaving. With this, and with this, the cursor pointer, you get this finger. It feels like you are just clicking on this, okay? So it feels like a pure transition. So here you will find the arrow, and as soon as you just hover on this button, you will get this point of view, okay, this one. So I'm talking about this pointer kind of behavior, which you get with this hover functionality over here, what I have written over here, okay? So this is how things are done, okay? Now you see on many places I have written this white color. At this time, you should consider making a variable. Now, how you can create a variable? So to the root, okay, you write something like this. To the root of the web page, what I want to do, I want to create variable. So for this, I can do something like this and say it as text color, okay, or I can say light color. And to the light color, you can give it a value as white. Now, whenever you want to use this variable, okay, you can just replace it like this. Where, you can use a where function and just replace this thing. So what will happen whenever you want to switch some value, you can quickly change it from one place and everything will then affect. For example, I want to change it from white to red. You see the transition, it's quick. So like this, you can also play with these kind of values. Okay. So this is how you deal with now the basic stuff regarding the HTML and regarding the HTML and CSS. I have shown you how you deal with this thing. Okay. So according to me, this would be pretty much it for today. I hope you get enough idea like how we use HTML, how the syntax looks like, enough for you to decide like okay, uh, how you should do it. And now also I can just quickly show you one more thing. Okay, like you wanna enter your date of birth, so you can do it something like this. The required is this. Here you can do it something like DOB. Enter your DOB. Okay, and you can select the date as well. You see over here, you can select your dates. So how you select with the date, yeah, it's really cool how you do it. Okay, it's like this. So yeah, actually, you should now try these activities on your own. Try to make some basic examples, and then I will catch up you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I will now see you in the next one.